My dad's voice came through the phone, calm but cutting. "You're not invited to Thanksgiving, Barbara," I shot back. "Then don't expect my $6,000 as I canceled their heating service. I was sprawled on my worn-out sofa, flipping through a dog-eared car magazine when his call pierced the stillness of late October. The soft hum of my electric heater filled my tiny apartment. I hit the speaker button, ready for his usual complaints. Maybe the garage door was stuck again, or Mom's latest baking mishap had clogged the pipes. But his words hit me like a sledgehammer. "Barbara, you're not coming to Thanksgiving this year," he said, blunt and detached, like he was canceling a routine meeting. "It's for the best, keeps your sister happy." The magazine slipped from my hands, pages spilling across the tattered cushions as his words settled in, bitter and cold. "What?" I asked, my voice rough, scraping like rusted gears. He let out that familiar, drawn-out sigh he used to dodge fights. "Janice has been on edge lately. You know how she gets. She doesn't need the stress, and neither do we. It's simpler if you skip this one." I swung my legs off the couch, my boots thudding against the scuffed hardwood floor, my eyes fixed on the coffee table, its chipped corner catching the faint glow of a flickering thrift store lamp. "Skip this one?" I repeated, the words burning in my chest like embers. "You're saying I'm banned from our family's Thanksgiving because Janice is stressed?" His voice stayed flat, unyielding. "Don't make a big deal out of it, Barbara. It's just one day. You'll manage." A sharp anger coiled up my spine, my fingers digging into the table's rough edge. "One day," I said, my tone hardening like steel on a grindstone. "What about the $6,000 I've shelled out to keep your house heated this year? That doesn't count for anything, does it?" Silence hung heavy, the phone line crackling before he muttered, "Let's not bring that into this. You offered to help." I let out a bitter, jagged laugh that echoed off the peeling walls. "Offered?" I stood, the floor groaning under me. "I've been footing your heating bill for 2 years, $6,000 this year alone, because you and Mom couldn't afford it after Janice's mess drained your savings. But sure, I begged to do it." He grumbled, annoyance creeping into his voice. "We're grateful, Barbara, but this isn't about money, it's about family. Janice needs this right now. She's in a bad place." I stepped to the window, watching snowflakes drift against the glass, faint under the streetlight's hazy glow. "Bad place," I muttered, the words cold and heavy like the frost outside. "Janice needs this. Janice always needs, and I'm always the one paying for it. Not anymore, Dad. Enjoy your peaceful dinner." I jabbed the screen, ending the call, and tossed my phone onto the couch, its screen dark as my breath fogged in the dim light. Janice, always the favorite. Prom queen, Mom's pride at the bakery, Dad's dreamer, even when her dreams crashed. 2 years ago, she blew through their savings, $20,000 on a failed online store she swore would be a game-changer. It wasn't. The site tanked in weeks, unsold stock moldering in a storage unit, while Mom wept over her coffee and Dad just shrugged, saying, "She'll bounce back." I didn't argue. I stepped in, covering their heating costs because winters here were brutal, and they couldn't afford fuel without me. $500 a month, $6,000 a year, pulled from my warehouse paychecks while Janice posted photos of cocktails and designer jackets she didn't earn. I let it go because family was family. Until now. Until Dad said I wasn't welcome at Thanksgiving, the one day we all showed up, no matter what. I grabbed my laptop from the cluttered shelf, sinking into the couch as it creaked under me, and logged into the utility account I'd set up for them. My name was on it. I'd been the one calling the oil company, arranging deliveries, paying bills because Dad couldn't navigate the online portal, and Mom just smiled, saying, "You're so good at this, Barbara." There it was. $6,000 gone this year, carved from my overtime hours, my sore muscles, my freezing early shifts at the warehouse. I clicked cancel service, my hand steady as the snow thickened outside, a promise of cold days ahead. They'd figure it out, call the provider, scramble, but not before their house turned into a freezer. A pop-up confirmed it. Service terminated, effective November 1st, 3 weeks before Thanksgiving. I slammed the laptop shut, a tight smile pulling at my lips. Let's see how fragile Janice is when the heat's gone. The weeks dragged on, snow piling up outside my apartment, the cold seeping through the thin walls. I kept going warehouse shifts, hauling crates across icy docks, my gloves stiff with frost as the wind howled. No calls yet, just the steady rhythm of my own life. One night, I hit the diner with Brian, my old high school pal turned mechanic, the place alive with clinking dishes and tired voices. He slid into the booth across from me, a steaming basket of fries between us, grinning as he grabbed a handful. "You're quiet tonight," he said, ketchup smearing his fingers. "Something up?" I sipped my beer, the bottle cold in my hand, and let it all spill. Dad's call, Janice's excuse, my ban from Thanksgiving. They uninvited me, I said, leaning back as the vinyl booth squeaked. After I paid their heating, $6,000 this year, 2 years running. His eyes widened, ketchup dripping as he froze mid-bite. No way. And they just expected you to keep paying. I nodded, snagging a fry. Yup, not anymore, I cut it off. They'll feel it soon. He laughed, a loud bark that drew a glare from the waitress. That's ice cold, Barbara, literally. I love it, I smirked, clinking my bottle against his, the glass chiming in the diner's warm hum. They picked Janice. I picked me. The diner's heat wrapped around me, a sharp contrast to the storm I'd unleashed miles away. Something solid settled in my chest, a weight I didn't know I needed. November 1st hit, the cutoff date, and I imagined their furnace going quiet, pipes creaking as the cold crept in. Thanksgiving was weeks away, but the snow came early, heavy and unforgiving, blanketing everything in silence. I kept moving work, a stop at the hardware store for a shovel and salt, the cashier nodding toward the icy streets. Big storm coming, he said, bagging my stuff. I smirked, picturing their thermostat dropping, the chill seeping into their walls. That night I grabbed soup and bread from the corner store, the cashier chatting as she scanned my items. This storm's gonna be brutal, she said, nodding at the swirling snow. I grinned, imagining their house, silent furnace, icy floors, winter sneaking through every gap. The first message came midweek as I swept my floor, dust dancing in the dim light. A text from Mom, Barbara, the heat's off. Did you pay? It's chilly. I ignored it, dumping the dustpan. My pulse stayed steady. An hour later, Dad's voicemail, furnace is out. Check on it, Barbara. I didn't. Janice's text came last, sharp and demanding. Fix this. It's freezing. Do something. I smirked, setting the broom aside, my apartment's warmth a quiet contrast to their ignorance. The days passed, the storm grew, and their messages piled up. By mid-November, Mom's texts were desperate. Barbara, it's 55 degrees. Call the oil company. Dad's voicemails stacked up 5, then 8. Pay it, Barbara. This isn't a game. Janice's were furious. You're cruel. I'm freezing. Now, I was at work moving pallets of canned goods, the warehouse air cutting through my coat when I played Mom's latest voicemail. Barbara, it's dropping fast. We're in sweaters. What's going on? I smirked, stacking crates, the cold a perfect mirror of what they'd face. Thanksgiving was a week away, and the forecast promised a brutal cold snap. Perfect timing. The weekend before, I stood in my small kitchen, chopping onions for a thick stew, steam fogging the windows as the broth simmered. My phone buzzed nonstop. 10 missed calls from Mom, 7 from Dad, messages flooding the screen. Mom. Barbara, it's 45 degrees. We're freezing. Do something. Dad, turn the heat back on. Now. Janice, you're ruining everything. It's freezing. I stirred the pot, the rich scent filling the air, picturing their house. Mom fussing over her lumpy potatoes, Dad sharpening his carving knife, Janice sulking in her fancy coat, all shivering in the creeping cold. 45 degrees. Not unbearable yet, but the real freeze was coming. I ladled out a bowl, the heat warming my hands, and sat at my small table, letting their frantic messages pile up while I ate in the quiet of my own space. Thanksgiving morning came, a blizzard roaring against my windows, snow burying the street in a white haze. I stayed inside, wearing jeans and a thick flannel, the smell of fresh coffee curling through my apartment. My plan was simple. A small roasted chicken, mashed potatoes, canned green beans, no turkey, nothing to remind me of them. My phone was a war zone, 15 missed calls from Mom, 12 from Dad, messages stacking like the snow outside. Mom. Barbara, it's 40 degrees. We're in coats. Please help. Dad, fix this now. It's dangerous. Janice, you're heartless. I'm sick because of you. I poured my coffee, savoring the rich scent as the wind howled. I pictured their dining room. The scratched oak table, Mom worrying over her potatoes, Dad slicing his overdone turkey, Janice pouting in her designer coat, the cold tightening around them. 40 degrees still bearable, but not for long. By noon, the storm worsened, the wind shaking my windows, the world outside lost in snow. The missed calls hit 20, Mom's latest voicemail shaking with urgency. Barbara, it's 35 degrees. Janice is crying. We're shivering under blankets. Please call someone. I preheated my oven, the heat spilling out as I slid the chicken in. The steam from my sides was a satisfying contrast to the panic on my phone. A new text from Dad. This is absurd. Fix it now. Janice, I hate you. This is unbearable. I ate slowly, savoring the tender meat, the creamy potatoes, the quiet warmth of my apartment as the storm raged on. By 3, the doorbell buzzed, cutting through the storm's howl. Through the peephole, I saw Dad, hunched in his heavy coat, snow crusted on his hood, his face red from the cold under the porch light's faint glow. I cracked the door, leaning against the frame, my apartment's heat spilling into the icy night as he glared, his breath puffing in bursts. "Barbara," he snapped, voice rough from the chill. "The heat's been off for weeks. You did this, didn't you? The house is a freezer." I crossed my arms, meeting his angry stare without blinking. "You said I wasn't welcome at Thanksgiving, that it was better for Janice. I figured you didn't need me for anything else." His face twisted, shock, then frustration, his voice rising against the wind. "It was one day. Janice is struggling. Your mom's falling apart." I stepped forward, cutting him off, my voice calm but firm. "One day, I've paid $6,000 to heat your house this year, 2 years straight while you pampered Janice. You made your choice. Now you're cold. Call the oil company, pay it yourself." He flailed, shaking snow from his sleeves, his voice desperate. "We can't, Barbara, we're broke. It's 30 degrees in there." I didn't budge, my face stone. "Not my problem. Happy Thanksgiving." I shut the door, the lock clicking shut. His shouts faded into the storm as his truck roared off into the snow. Back inside, my phone lit up with messages. "Mom, Barbara, we're freezing. Do something. Janice, you're heartless. I'm suffering. Dad, this isn't over. Call me." I muted the notifications, letting my podcast play, the warmth of my meal settling in. Friday came, the snow lighter, but their panic grew. At noon, my cousin Olivia called, her voice full of amusement as I cleared ice from my walkway. "Barbara, they're losing it. Janice is whining about frostbite, Mom's wrapped in every blanket, and Dad's begging neighbors for a heater." "What you do? Stopped paying their heat," I said, tossing snow aside. $6,000 this year, 2 years straight. They ditched me for Janice, so I ditched their bills." Olivia laughed. "That's ruthless. Janice is ranting online, Mom's crying to Aunt Anna, Dad's furious." I leaned on the shovel, grinning. "Let them deal." She went on, describing their cold Thanksgiving, the untouched food, the house dropping to 28 degrees overnight. "They're miserable," she said. "Barbara, you're a legend." As December hit, snow covered everything. My life stayed steady: work, coffee runs, quiet nights, my heaters hum a quiet triumph. A week later, Olivia called as I stirred chilly warmth filling my kitchen. "They're still struggling," she said, laughing. "Janice bolted to a friend's, Mom's buried in blankets, Dad's begging the oil company." I smirked. "They figure it out yet?" she snorted. "Barely, scraped together a small refill. Mom's guilt-tripping everyone, Dad's sulking, Janice is playing victim. No one's buying it." I tasted the chili, the spice perfect. "Let them sort it out," Olivia chuckled. "You're brutal, glad I'm not on your bad side." We hung up and I ate in peace, the storm a faint murmur. At work unloading crates, the cold bit through my coat. My phone buzzed, Mom's voicemail, her voice small. "Barbara, we're barely managing. Can we fix this?" I listened, lifting a crate. "Figure it out," I muttered, deleting it. Days later, as I sipped tea at home, the doorbell rang. Dad stood outside, snow-dusted, face tight. I cracked the door, warmth spilling out. "Barbara," he said, voice low. "It's been weeks. The house is unlivable. Mom's sick. Janice is gone." I held his gaze. "You cut me out for Janice's sake. What's left to say?" He shifted, jaw tight. "We didn't think it'd get this bad. Mom's struggling. Janice bylaid." I cut him off. "You didn't think. I paid $6,000 this year, 2 years running, while you bobbied Janice. You chose. Now you're freezing. Pay your own way." He flinched, fist clenching. "We can't. We're out of money. It's 35 degrees inside." I sipped my tea, steam rising. "Your choices, your consequences. I'm done." I closed the door, his muffled protests fading as he stomped to his truck. The weeks passed, snow piling higher, my life steady while theirs fell apart. Olivia's last update came over beers at the diner, cold fries between us as she grinned. "They're barely hanging on, tiny oil deliveries, constant fights. Janice is crashing with some guy, Mom's begging relatives, Dad's selling junk to survive. You broke them, Barbara." I smirked, sipping my beer. "They broke themselves, I just stopped fixing it." She raised her bottle. "To freedom." We clinked glasses, warmth settling in while they shivered. January hit, the cold relentless. One evening I sat with coffee, city lights flickering through my window, snow glowing below. The doorbell rang. Mom stood outside, coat tight, eyes sunken, snow dusting her scarf. I leaned against the doorframe, silent. "Barbara," she said, voice shaky. "We messed up, it's been awful, the cold, the fights. We didn't realize how much you did." I exhaled, steam rising from my mug. "You never do. 2 years, $6,000 this year until I stopped. You chose Janice. Again, I'm done cleaning up." She stepped closer, pleading. "We're sorry, Janice too. Can we fix this?" I shook my head. "Not now, I'm warm. You figure it out." I shut the door, her voice muffled, and returned to my couch, coffee hot, silence mine. February came, snow heavy, their problems lingering like mold. Olivia called as I painted, the sharp scent filling my apartment. Barbara, they're done. Janice got dumped, mom's in a cheap motel, dad's selling everything. You crushed them. I wiped paint from my fingers, eyeing the fresh wall. They made their bed, I said. I made mine. Olivia laughed, wild and sharp. They're still begging, but no one's listening. March rolled in, snow melting, but their desperation clung like damp decay. One morning, splitting logs for my fire pit, the axe cracked through wood. Olivia called, amused. Barbara, they're finished. Janice is couch surfing, mom's begging for loans, dad's out of stuff to sell. You shattered them. I swung the axe again, wood splitting clean. They built that mess, I said, stacking the pieces. I just stopped heating it. Olivia cackled. I hung up, lit the fire, and watched the flames rise against the fading cold. They could freeze, I'd stay free.